Make sure you guys are locked in and buckled in because we got a ton of stuff to talk about on today's show. Starting off with Jaire Alexander and his top trade destination. And then on the back half, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur and what he has to say about the Green Bay Packers schedule. We start with Jaire, though. ESPN released an article that talked about the top free agents still available, where they should end up. And then they outlined 3 different trade candidates across the National Football League and said the top destination for those teams, of course, Jaire Alexander was one of those trade candidates. I'll tell you where ESPN has him going in just a couple of seconds. Before that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're in the midst of an awesome subscriber battle with Vikings now. We've been doing it all month long, and we only got, 11 days left of the month of May, so just not that much time to get this lead back. We're only down 1 subscriber right now, so it's not bad. New viewers, this is on you guys. If you're already subscribed, you can't do much more. But if you haven't, lock us in today. We talk about the Green Bay Packers every single day. It's the only thing we do. It's 100% free. Let's make up that score against the Vikings. So Alexander's top trade destination, according to ESPN, is the Los Angeles Chargers. And my first thought was kind of a bit of an interesting fit. Now, I know having a head coach that is Jim Harbaugh, and a defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, it fits in that way. But the reason why I don't feel like it's a great fit, or I feel like it's an interesting fit, is because, Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. is a free agent currently. And the reason he is a free agent and didn't re-sign with the Los Angeles Chargers after having back-to-back phenomenal seasons is because he missed 13 games this past season. So why it's an interesting fit to me is would Los Angeles want to trade for somebody that's kind of had a similar problem as a guy they just let walk, who they probably could sign for not that much money because as it stands right now, he's still not signed by anybody? And yet you've got this problem with Jaire. And so originally off the bat, I kind of feel like maybe Los Angeles wouldn't want to take the chance on a guy who's missed 10 games the last 2 seasons when they just let a guy who missed 13 games last season walk free. Regardless, here's what Matt Bowen of ESPN had to say about the fit. The Chargers signed Donte Jackson to a 2-year deal and Benjamin St-Juste to a 1-year contract this offseason. However, if Alexander is available in a trade, he would be seen as an upgrade in Jesse Minter's defensive system. The Chargers are zone-heavy, playing both single high cover 3 and split safety schemes. Alexander has the play instincts and foot quickness to match routes, and his transition speed allows him to make plays on the ball. Alexander has intercepted 12 passes and broken up 57 in his career. Now, I will say it would fit from the standpoint of Donte Jackson and Benjamin St-Juste both suck, okay? And so, yeah, they added cornerbacks in free agency, but Jaire Alexander is miles better than both of those guys. I mean, Benjamin St-Juste's nickname in Washington was Benjamin St. Toast. The dude was awful. And so just because they added those 2 guys doesn't mean that, they're not going to add Jaire. They added Jackson and St-Juste. No, Jaire's a clear upgrade over both of them. That's not going to stop them from trading for Jaire Alexander. The thing is, though, is I just don't think they'll trade for him. They only have 6 draft picks next year, and when you trade for a guy like Jaire Alexander, you not only take on the player who has the injury-prone ability in his, tenure in the NFL, and I definitely just made up the word prone ability, but he also is expensive, very expensive at that. And sure, Green Bay could save a lot of money for cutting him, and that's, again, another reason why I don't necessarily think they're going to trade for him, because I think if he's going to become available, it will be by cut. I think a trade is kind of past us by now, so they might just be waiting Green Bay out to see if they trade him or they cut him. And another reason why I don't think they're going to trade him is because things are kind of trending up lately. Here's from Peter Schrager. It appears more than likely that Alexander will remain with the Packers. Alexander has had great talks with head coach Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst. He also has a great relationship with defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. And here from Jeremy Fowler. The Packers and Alexander are working on a resolution that should materialize soon. A revised contract for Alexander due $17.5 million in cash this year to balance his injury history with his longtime status as an elite corner might be the most sensible play. And this most recent update came from last week. Matt Schneidman tweeting it out when Derek Ansley, the defensive passing game coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, was speaking at the podium, and he said that he talks with Jaire Alexander every single day, sends him a positive quote every single morning. And so I feel like at this point, unless the offer just blows Green Bay away, I don't feel like they're looking to trade him. It all points to a restructured contract at this point, okay? They're not going to run it back with the current state of it. 2 years left on the deal. He has no guaranteed money left. His total base over the 2 years, $37 million. It averages out with other incentives in there and other, bonuses, $21 million a year, okay? And so it's like, that's a lot of money. So that's why, in my opinion, it all points to a restructured contract. If they're not going to restructure it, then I think they're going to cut him, again, unless Los Angeles just absolutely blows them away with a trade offer. And I'm cool with paying Jaire what his current deal is, that current money, if it's manipulated to be incentive-based, right? If you end up paying him the amount that he's got on his deal right now because he plays and he balls out, I would love for him to earn that, and I'd love to give him that money. I just want it to be changed, the contract that is. I want it to be manipulated where that money, he could still earn it, but it's all incentive-based, right? I don't want to just give him that money if he's going to sit out for 10 games of the season with an injury. I want him to play, make plays, make interceptions, make tackles, be on the field, not on the bench. If he does that, sure, here's all the money in the world. I need you guys to be the banker for me. How much would you pay Jaire Alexander? What do you think this new contract is going to look like? You let me know in the comment section down below. So up next, let's talk about Matt LaFleur because he talked about the schedule. Now, the schedule was released last Wednesday. It was a very exciting day, schedule release. The NFL kind of knows how to keep the attention of everybody through the entirety of the offseason because people are waiting on pins and needles for it, and here it is. You open up the season against the Lions, play a really quick game against the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Your bye week is in Week 5, which is interesting. You got Steelers on the road, Sunday Night Football. You play the Eagles. On Monday Night Football, you play the Lions on Thanksgiving. You round out the year against the Ravens and on the road against Minnesota. And here's Matt LaFleur's gripe with the Packers schedule. It's interesting. You have a real quick turnaround in Week 2, getting a Thursday night game against a really talented Washington Commanders team. And then we have an early bye, which is kind of weird after that Thursday night game. But it is what it is. And if we're being honest, Matt LaFleur, I kind of see what you're talking about. I hear what you're talking about. I agree with what you're talking about. It's a very tough start out of the gate for Green Bay, right? They have to play against the Lions. Then they have to very quickly turn around and play Thursday Night Football against a Washington Commanders team that went to the NFC Championship game, that destroyed the Lions on home when the Lions were coming off a bye in the playoffs. It's a very, very tough start to your schedule. And what's interesting about it is the whole fact of net rest edge. The Green Bay Packers are a -2 in that category. Now, you could see the entire National Football League right there, but that graph might not make a ton of sense to you. You might be asking, what is rest edge? Well, it's the measure of the total days of extra rest a team has compared to their opponents over the course of the season. So if you look at that graph again, Green Bay, on average, if you take all of their games and their rest versus their opponent's rest, they are on a -2, which means they have 2 days less of preparation through the entirety of their 2025 NFL schedule than their opponents do. Meaning they've got some tough days for rest, or rest-wise. They got 3 of them that stand out to me the most. Week 8, playing Pittsburgh on -3 rest, meaning you're coming off a short week, or going on to a short week. They are coming off a very normal week, or vice versa, excuse me. You're coming off a normal week. They're coming off a short week. Then in Week 10, this is the worst of them all. You're playing Philadelphia off their bye. Not only is that going to be a difficult game because they're the Super Bowl champions, they beat you twice last year, but you have to get them off of 7 days rest. And then Week 18 in Minnesota, you're playing them on the road in -3 days of rest, which at that point in the season, Week 18 against a divisional opponent, that game could mean a ton. Now, for the NFC North, you don't fare that poorly. Still, with -2 days, you rank second. The Lions, of course, they're up there with +13 days. The NFL tries their hardest to make the Lions relevant, to make the Lions great, and the Lions just don't want to. But here's +13 days of rest. Packers in second with -2, Vikings with -3, Bears with -4. Anytime you play in the NFC North, and you also combine that in your schedule of playing the NFC East, you're going to have a hard schedule, right? Look at what the NFC North was last year. You got third place. You went 11-6. 11-6 got you third place. And you're playing another division in the NFC East that had 2 teams in the NFC title game, Commanders, Eagles. One team won the Super Bowl, and then the other team, Cowboys, didn't have that great of a year, but Dak was hurt for 10 games, and they added in George Pickens. And so it's like you can assume they're going to be at least possibly a 10-win team this year, 8 wins maybe at the least. And so you're going to have a hard year. It's just kind of one of those things that you got to be like, this is what happens. When you're a good team, you play good teams. Plain and simple. Be the judge for me down in the comments section. How hard is the Packers schedule? Rate it 1 to 10 for me. 10 being the hardest. 1, you're saying it's not that hard at all. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to hear my thoughts on everything around the Packers on Twitter, you can find me at Joey Petersen 8. You can find me on Instagram as well at Joey Petersen 8. Both of those links are in the comments and description of today's video. And we're going to get on out of here. Make sure before you do, though, hit that subscribe button. Join us right here on the Packers Report for daily coverage of your favorite team.